today.
Let's talk about today.
Grand national state level, you have to run non-sales, wholesale.
Is 9,000.
The only mistake I made, I didn't put her in a registration booth with the
Just this ever-evolving story.
Welcome, everybody, the last podcast of 2026. My name is Jason Schultz. I'm joined tonight in my office with Jason Bittinger. He's from Nashville, Tennessee. He loves Poland. We're friends, so he come up and hang out with me for a couple days. So he's bored. Logan Stevens, one of our great co-hosts up there in the upper left corner. How's the wind blowing in Kansas, Logan?
It was a beautiful day, sunny and 70 yesterday, and then we had some friends roll in from up north, and they brought all the cold weather with them, and it is not pleasant out here. It is freezing.
When somebody from Kansas says up north, where's that at? So
up north in the Michigan area, Minnesota area.
All right,
so that's up north for you guys.
You know those are two different states, right, Logan?
Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay.
Just like how there's multiple time zones, but we're still working on the geography here.
Understood. Randy Fishbaugh from the great state of Ohio up there in the upper right corner. Our distinguished panel tonight, we got the Bert Forbes down there. Wave your hand, Bert. Bert's from North Carolina. And then our guests tonight are Tim Neuhring. I like this Mufasa thing. If we've all seen the Lions game, we all know it's the Lions Club of Rockwell that put on the North Iowa Nationals, which won Grand National Poll of the Year with the NTPA. But Tim is are you the head Lion, or how does that work? You guys are one big team?
We're one big team, but I am the president of the Lions Club and the chairman of North Iowa Nationals.
So you are Mufasa, right?
I guess if you say so.
Okay. Actually, we're going to have some fun with this Mufasa thing. I just want to let you know that. Tyson Franks is a huge polling fan. I met him in person, got to talk to him at Coldwater, Michigan. They have an awesome poll. Was that a Tuesday night or a Thursday night or a Wednesday night, Tyson?
Wednesday night.
So I got there, Bert, 80 degrees, sunny, no chance of rain. It's a perfect day. And all of a sudden these clouds start sneaking in, and it freaking rained. And it rained for like an hour. It was just enough of a drizzle, guys. We all know that as a promoter and as a poller, just enough to piss with it, but not enough to really ruin anything. So we got started about 8:30 that night. I'll let Tyson dive into that a little bit. But what I was really impressed with them is on how humble they were on like asking the pollers, what do we need to do better next year, and different things like that for their fair. So that was great. And then the Marty Harrell, super stock legend. It was a Massey. Now it's a Kubota, but he won the internet when that baby broke out of Lumberton, North Carolina, a couple of years ago. Also the promoter of Wilson, North Carolina. So welcome, everybody. December's been promoter podcast, promoter workshop, excuse me. Randy and I and Logan and Bert got together. We're bringing on promoters. See you, Kenzie. You coming to work tomorrow? Yeah. All right, cool. Kenzie tomorrow.
See you, Kens.
Have a good one.
Yeah. We said this last week, but being a promoter is the most important thing in pulling. We have pullers. They're awesome, but pullers all want to go to a place, whether it's a state hook or a brush pull or a Grand National. They want to go to somewhere where it's organized, right? And they want to be part of something that's great. And you have to have a great promoter to do that. And I purposely not brought on a lot of like Grand National promoters because I think there's a lot of great state level pulling, a lot of regional level pulling out there. But Tim's a good friend of mine, and I'm really proud of what they do in Rockwell as they continue to grow that. And he's digging out of a blizzard. How much snow did you guys get in Rockwell in that Ames area?
We really didn't get a lot of snow. It was just 60-mile-an-hour winds, about 3 inches of snow is all, but pile up after pile up of cars. Everybody had to go out, you know.
I can attest to that.
35.
Iowa never seems to have a good snow management system.
You know, they all love to go out in it and play.
So long story short, we were going up north to see our good friend Brett Berg one time to see if this was our very first time going to meet the man, going to see if I could fit in a cage of a mini rod. And it was beautiful roads up until we got north of Des Moines, Iowa. And then it went to crap.
Yeah, there's an area there that is every single storm is it's terrible.
Yeah. No, we did the next 100 miles to the border, to the Minnesota border at 30 mile an hour.
Sounds about right.
That's not Iowa's fault, Logan.
Oh, that's 100% Iowa's fault. They treat it with this like beet juice is what they treat the roadways with.
Tim, is he right?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
It's like this purple beet juice is what they use on the roadways.
I don't believe he's from Kansas. He doesn't know what a beet is.
Yeah. How do you know what that is?
Hey, at least y'all don't close schools for a threat of snow like we do down here.
Yeah.
Dude, the Charlotte airport is my biggest nemesis in the world. If it even sniffs of snow there, I'm sleeping on the floor at the Charlotte airport, and it's happened more than ever, so I got bad on that. So.
I worked for the Department of Transportation for 29 years in North Carolina run the equipment unit. And every time they would even mention the word snow, they would start putting out salt brine.
Yep.
They put out enough down here to get to the point it's eating up vehicles like they do up north. I mean, they'll start spraying around here if they even remotely think it's going to do it.
Wow.
Not no beet juice. They actually put out salt brine.
See, you hear that, Logan? In North Carolina, they're doing. Tyson, what do they do in Michigan?
No vegetables.
You just drive through it.
That's right, because you're men. You're men in Michigan.
A lot softer than it used to be.
What's the weather up north there?
Oh, it's just pretty darn cold. We got a half inch of snow, but the wind's really blowing. It's in the single digits, but you know, they spray a little bit of that beet juice and a little bit of that salt brine, but yeah, pretty much we're like the guys in Michigan. We just charge through it, you know.
You got to figure that out. I'm just on the east side of the snow band, so you go an hour west or northwest and you'll run into 6, 8, 10, 12 inches, but we're minimal here, just enough to say it snowed and just enough for the wind to blow it all into drifts.
Fair enough.
And there you go, folks. That's your synopsis of the weather across the United States.
Ready for spring.
There are people that make a living just making up stuff on the weather, so we might as well go for it too, don't you think, Logan? So.
They get paid better too.
It's a better business decision than whatever this tractor pulling is, but
oh, now come on.
It's all good. Well, let's jump into this. I want to go around the room a little bit. Tim, I guess tell us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us about your event, and tell us about the Lions Club, how it all got started. So
16 years ago, we were actually having a rodeo and got approached by a puller that asked if we would be interested in having a pull. At first, I guess I really didn't know much about it. And I said probably not, because I guess I was thinking the putt tractors. But we'd kind of decided that we'd like a new aquatic center in town, and we needed a fundraiser. So I took it to the club to see what they'd say, and we ended up that night. They said if I could get $20,000 in sponsorship, that we'd go ahead and do it and give it a try. Well, in a week, I had 20,000 sponsorship gathered up, and from there, I guess it's history. Just a lot of hard work and working our tails off to get better every year.
how many days did you guys start out with, Tim?
It was just a one-night deal.
And it was a Region 3 hook, is that right?
Region 5 then.
Region 5? Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it was Region 5.
Tim, do you have any of those in that 15 or 16 years? Do you have any of the original sponsors today?
Almost all of them.
Good.
Wow.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's. I think we've lost one in 16 years. It just keeps growing.
Good.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Tyson.
Well, and real quick, and you guys, they won Grand National Poll of the Year. That's pretty cool. What does that
Yeah.
mean? What's that mean to your team, Tim, when you can take that award back home to the Lions?
No one will ever know how much that means to us. Like I said, it's not just for the Lions Club. We've got hundreds of volunteers. As anybody that's ever been to our pull, all of our vendors are nonprofit organizations. You know, we got the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, and the football team, basketball team, cheerleaders, dance team, you name it, the whole community's there. Of course, for an event this size, you know, only 900 people are in our town. It takes everybody, and it just it takes a group effort.
Yep. No, well said. Well said, Marty. I know you as a puller. I didn't know you promoted pulls until Bert told me this year. Wilson, I've heard of Wilson, North Carolina, but kind of give us your history of as a promoter and how it all got started for you, bud.
They started, me and Bert were just here trying to figure it out around 2011,
2012,
2011, 2012. They had one pool earlier at a racetrack, and we brought it to Wilson. Wilson had tractor pools back in the 70s, actually on the old Wilson County Speedway,
right,
where NASCAR ran. And now that is now the parking lot for the area there at the fairgrounds. And we actually went back behind in the back part of the fairgrounds and dug out the whole area. We can run 2 tracks, and we had all the clay and everything hauled in, put new grandstands and everything up. And this past year, we had to upgrade all of our grandstands for insurance purposes. The kick panels behind your feet down there, we had to do all of them in and everything to meet insurance regulations. But we've had a nice facility, and we've had it now, like we said, probably.
Y'all missed what, 2 years, 1 year for COVID and 1 year for something else?
Yeah, we had we got rained out. We started out, we were the last weekend in July, first weekend in August is where we've been running. And then we date became available for May. And we really wanted to do that because we're trying to get ready for the county fair. It's in September, but there's a lot of effort has to go into getting the fairgrounds ready for the county fair. And we wanted to get off of that date if we could and try to get, in the spring of the year. We're in a farming community where we're at. In August, the farmers are really hard at trying to get all the crops and everything out of the field down here. And May is farming time too, but those guys can step away from it a little bit easier in early May or mid-May to come out to the pool. We've had, like he was saying a while ago, we've had some sponsors now that we've had for many years that continue to come on each year and step up. We've had a lot of small sponsors that's come and gone. And when I say that, I mean $400 or $500 people that come and go at times, but all in all, we've made this past year was our best year ever as far as profit. At the pool there. So we were real pleased. We think that moving the date, this was our first year for the 3rd weekend of May.
Yeah.
And that really helped us. We weren't competing with a lot of the other stuff going on in the county at the time.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition, Marty. You're right. For that entertainment dollar than there used to be. There's just a lot going on. There used to be a time in the 80s and you just went to the fair. You went to your fair truck and tractor pull or that demo derby. And now, hell, with sports and kids are playing youth basketball at 6 years old now on competitive teams. It's a different world, and it's a challenge for that entertainment dollar. So when you can stay off else,
we have one asphalt track about 15 miles away that runs, and then we have a dirt track that's about the same distance. And then we were finding also in August that was when some of your fall festivals started and high school football. All of just worked for us to move our main pool. Now, we also run one during the county fair on a Wednesday night, but we only run 4 classes.
Okay.
On Wednesday night during the county fair. And we had to schedule that around the animals because animals, some of them, the animal barn and the show where they do the animal shows at is pretty close to the track. And to keep from scaring the animals and stuff, we just try to do that on a night that no animal shows are set up.
No, that's smart. That's smart. All right, Tyson, kind of give us the who, what, when, where, why. Your Dr. Seuss. Who are you? Where are you from? Tell us about Coldwater a little bit, and then we'll dive into some more detailed questions.
Yeah, from Coldwater. Been on our amphitheater committee per se, as a volunteer, just like the rest of us here are. Track building crew. You know, we've got 4 or 5 nights of events that we've got to promote in our amphitheater. Tractor pulling just happens to be my biggest passion. Now I'm on fair board as of October, so stepping into a little bit different role there with a lot to learn. With convention coming up, you know, I'll get to know more of the numbers and things like that. But to back up, we've had a pull at our fair since about 1980.
Okay.
Was with the Wolverine pullers for a long time. And then, I don't know, probably 5 years or so ago, went to Region 2. And a lot of that's just due to class sizes and you know, competitor numbers and things like that, trying to keep things a little fresher to put people in the stands to see something new and different. We put new grandstands in about 10 years ago. We've got another set that when funding is there, we can erect up as well. And then we've got a lot of young guys that are wanting to make changes for the better and better our situation. And so June of this last year, we actually lucked into a bunch of Michigan clay. It's not Ohio clay. We've got rocks and sand in it, unfortunately, but we lucked into a bunch of clay from a nearby solar plant or a solar field. And then we found funding to bring in a screen plant. So we screened about 1,000 yards of clay, dug up part of our old track, plus all the new clay we had. And over a course of a week, we screened that and laid down a longer track that's deeper that we don't have to worry about large stones in anymore.
Well said. Now I was really impressed with your group of guys. Super passionate, running around. Everybody knew what they were supposed to do. And you also know how to have a good time after the pull. We went to that little scale house thing or whatever.
Yeah, we got the infamous scale house lounge that Jason became familiar with.
The scale house lounge, guys. Legit. Like this scale's like from 19 what, Tyson?
Oh, I don't know. It's an old balance beam scale. It's been there 50s or prior to.
That's cool.
Wow.
They're still functional. We still use it for our farm stock and antiques, but on the nights we don't need it, you know, NTPA, they have their own set of scales, so it becomes the stop sign that's hanging in there. You flip it over and it says Scale House Lounge on it, and the refrigerator door opens up, and we have a good
magic.
time.
It's magic. It's magic. It's just like hanging out with Tim and Bowling Green at the top of the bleachers, drinking out of a gasoline can. Tim, Neuhring. I remember that.
So Tyson, when you first got started with the whole pulling business, did you expect it to really grow into what it has today, or what were your kind of first goals with the pull?
Well, I mean, I was a 4-H exhibitor for years and knew friends, parents that was in the role that I am now. And, you know, as me and my buddies sat there and now we've got kids showing and everything else, we're like, you know, it's time for us to give back. But we'd kind of seen the same old show for a long time, and you start talking to different people, and I've got good friends in the pulling world and that I've admired. You know, we're home of Lee Swift, Mr. Thundermaker, and followed them around for years. And you just hear different people, and, you know, you got a rock problem. You need to get kids out here and pick rocks. And it's like, all right, that's putting a Band-Aid on a gun wound type thing. Let's figure out the true solution here. So, you know, we just had a bunch of young guys, and the guys that were on it weren't bad guys. There was just age and energy and time. And, you know, we kind of all look at each other and said, hey, we're all the age, and we've got, I don't know if we got more time, but we got more energy, and we're willing to put in more hours and sleep less, I guess. Let's try to do something that leaves a mark.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Tim, when you first started there with the North Iowa Nationals and that, did you expect it to grow into the 2-day show that it's become today, or what were kind of the first goals with it?
3-day, Logan.
3-day, you're right.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So
3-day.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't do anything small. I did have a plan and I had a goal, and luckily we had a group of men that all have the same goal. We want to be the best of the best, and we work hard all year long to get there.
Yeah.
Hey, Tim, who are
Marty?
some local pullers that this is the next question for everybody. I'm going to come around who are some local pullers that consider Rockwell their hometown pull?
Yeah, so Jamie Bush does. Doug Lively used to when he was pulling. Travis Slabaugh isn't too far from us. Brett Berg, of course, just a couple hours north of us, but there's quite a few in our area.
I threw the website on the bottom of the page there for you, different things like that. So RockwellIowaLions.com. Marty, who are your local pullers that consider Wilson their hometown pull?
Oh God. Royce Bone. I don't know if you remember Royce. Royce pulled Grand National years ago.
He
pulled in the Houston Astrodome.
Yeah, his grandson pulls his tractor now, right? He has that pro.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, Royce is probably 35 minutes from Wilson. Zachy Bizzett. Zachy's probably 20.
Hold on, let me ask this question real quick. Say his last name, Jason. Say it.
Bissette.
Yeah, it gets pronounced several different ways.
Yeah.
French. He's French, and it's Bissette. So no, I butcher that one.
But he's right down the road. I'd say him and Royce are probably the two closest ones, pretty much to us. And then we've got some more that live in. We're back towards Wake Forest and Knightdale area.
Yeah, you got the Lees that live probably 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
So there's probably 5 to 6 easily within a half hour of you. So, and some of them y'all have heard of them, like in Zachy Bissett, of course, Jason knows very well now, but he's probably the biggest. I would say he's the biggest personality in there. And you're local too. You're only 10 minutes away. So,
Well, it was obvious I was from around here. So,
well, Marty's being humble. There's nothing wrong with that. I like that. I like that a lot. That's a comment from Amanda Stern about Rockwell. Tim, that's for you. Tyson, local pullers that consider Coldwater their hometown pull, bud.
Oh, John Silsby's right close by. Super farm guy. Webb's with a mini rod. Of course, he's retired now, but Lee Swift, Mr. Thundermaker, 4-time Grand Nationals. And then we were also the home of near passes, the pulling sleds for a long time. In fact, the clay came from off of their farm. So.
But the daylight comes and we want to go home. That's
hold on, we got to send. Let me take a picture of that so we can send it to him.
Yeah, please do. I'll leave that up there for you. So,
yeah.
I'm going to come back to Tim here in a second, and we're going to talk about planning and different stuff like that. Let me know when we're good.
I'm good.
Okay. Tim, with the Lions Club, how often do you guys meet? And the biggest myth that I want to get rid of people is you can't just decide the month before you're going to have a truck and tractor pull and get a case of beer and some posters and hang them up at the local gas station and hope that people come, because it takes more than that. Tim, how often do the Lions Club meet? Is it monthly? Is it weekly? How much is tractor pull involved? Kind of take us through that planning process for you guys. And this is coming to you, Marty and Tyson as well. Tyson with your fair board and Marty with your team. So.
Yeah, so it's usually a 2-day cleanup process. Then the very next night we all meet. We make a list of things that we need to change to get better. What went right, what didn't go right. And then after that, we meet once a month for 3-4 months. Then it goes to twice a month for 3 months. And then after that, it's weekly. So we put in a lot of time, and this thing doesn't happen easy. The thing that I guess I would point to our success has been that, the good Lord gave us one mouth and 2 ears for a reason. We listened.
Kudos to that.
We've listened to the pullers and we've listened to the fans, and we just constantly try to get better. And if we're not getting better, we're dying. So, that's just, it takes a lot of, there's 12 of us that are on our committee out of a group of 40. And we're blessed because most Lions clubs are dying in the United States. We are thriving. Our average age is 31 out of the group of 40.
Wow.
We're rocking it. We got kids like mine that are members now that have grown up with it, and they want to see this to be a super national someday, just as much as I do. So we just work hard and listen to people, and treat people right, and they'll treat us right.
Tim, when you say you listen to people, how, you pull the pullers in the crowd? How do you get feedback from your fans and from your pullers?
So, we try to go around to the pullers during the event. We all know we're all busy, but we try to ask how we can get better. We go to the banquet. We talk on the phone to pullers and fans. We're constantly talking to them and how can we do things better? What do they want to see? And it's amazing if you ask people, they're more than happy to share their thoughts. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad, but the main thing is that they know you're trying, and that every time they come back, they notice that you've tried to improve in some way or another.
Yeah, if you're going to go ask people's opinions, be prepared, because you're going to find there's a few Jeff Hurts in every crowd, right, Randy?
You got that right.
There
sure
and
is.
I mean that super. I mean, I'd rather know. So
For sure.
I'd rather have people tell me in person than on Facebook, but most people don't want to call me, so that's fair. So
For sure.
that is good. Tyson, talk to me here. I'm trying to switch the screen over. I was trying to set up Instagram. I forgot to go live on Instagram. Tyson, talk about your process with the fair board and how it works.
Yeah, so as a fair board, we meet once a month. That's just our standard meeting. There's a couple in there twice a month, depending on if it's a certain planning session. But then as a committee, amphitheater committee is kind of unique. We're kind of in our own world. We do our own thing. There's a couple fair board members, one of them being me, that kind of overlooks that committee, but they're the ones really they're the ones that break their back and put in the blood, sweat, and tears to make the show go on. We meet usually once right after fair to kind of start jotting down notes. Like Tim said, what we all know the good, but man, the bad's what really keeps you up at night and frustrates you. And you're disappointed that you have to wait another year to try to make it right. And we've had a couple years now where we've just walked away with our tail between our legs, some of it Mother Nature and some of it just stuff that, I think we can do better going forward. But we meet again here, usually about once a month or once every other month here through the winter. And then depending on the projects that we have, we set aside some work time to go ahead and make those projects come to fruition.
Perfect. I love it. Thanks, Tyson. Marty, what about you and your team? And is it more of a fair type of thing, Marty, or is it the Marty and get in line? How do you guys do things around there?
Well, it's the fair board as a general rule. We have a meeting like he was speaking of. We have a meeting once a month, and we'll start January. We'll start contacting our sponsors and stuff to get them lined up for the coming year, because some people that are sponsors, they have budgets that they start the first of the year. So we usually get with them beginning of the year to get everything rolling with them. And then we've got our lady there at the fairgrounds, our coordinator that handles a lot of the stuff. She'll get our porta johns and things like that lined up, and extra bleachers if we order them. The rest of it pretty much falls on me, but I've got a good group of guys. I get the same ones every year. All I've got to do is make sure that I've got the tractors and equipment there, the tow ropes, scrapers, water wagon, hoses to fill it up. I get all that stuff out. When them guys come, they get off of work. Some of them do, some of them take vacations. I don't have to worry about anything. They know exactly what their job is when they come, and they'll grab a tractor and they'll start hooking stuff up, filling up with water. And I got one other guy. Most time, me and him tearing up the track to build it. David Askew, he's a crew member for Zachy Bizzett. Me and him usually do a lot of work on the track and stuff to get that prepped. And we started out at the fair board. We were doing our own, trying to do a lot of our sales of concessions. And if all of these guys on here knows what kind of hassle that is. You cannot run a pool as an organization and try to feed everybody's belly at the same time. It's just it's terrible. I'm telling you, it's terrible. So we started. What we done is we figured what we were making after we spent our, what it cost us to do it and what we were making as a profit wise. And we pretty much went in there and figured that we need to make this amount of money. And we started renting out 10 by 10, 12 by 12 squares for people to come in and set up tents. But our coordinator there at the fairgrounds, we try not to let the same vendors come in with two of the same kinds of food. And we have ice cream, different stuff like that. We try to get set up on both sides of the track so that they don't have to come back and forth across or around the ends of it. We try to keep, enough food on both sides for the facility to feed everybody.
Well, one of the good things about your facility is that you've got generator hookups.
Yep.
For the majority of the pullers. I'd probably say, 90%, if not more.
Yeah.
If you've got a huge hauler, you might have a little tough time getting in there and getting in one of the spots. But average hauler, and what do y'all charge? $25 or $30?
Yeah, it was like $25 a night. We were just trying to get back whatever we figured the amount of electricity being used.
And if you ever rent a generator for one night, you're
gonna spend $25.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and like I say, once I get the pool going, and me and Bert we've done a lot of announcing ourselves.
Yeah, we've done a lot
together at that show and everything. And once we got the show going, then I can step away and get the tractor weighed in and get it on the starting line and everything. I just have to make sure that my battery is charged on my phone, because I know these guys right here know your phone's going to ring off the hook all day long.
Yeah.
So, you stay pretty busy, but once it gets to rolling, it goes good.
Yep. I like it. Again, if you're just joining us, Merry Christmas from all of us. This is a promoter workshop every Monday night here in December. Bert, Logan, Randy, and I just bring it on promoters from all over the country tonight. We got North Carolina, we got Michigan, we got Iowa represented, and just sharing best practices, best stories. I think it's good for pullers to hear from promoters. I think it's fans to hear good from promoters. Or hear from promoters. And I think it's good for promoters to hear from other promoters. I know Tim personally, and he purposely goes to other events just to learn. He goes to Bowling Green. He goes to Chapel Hill. I've seen him at Hutchinson, Toma. I've seen the Lions Club everywhere, and they know they go out and they learn from those different things. So, Randy, you have to get the next question after this round. Okay.
Oh.
Tim, I'm coming back to you. Tim, what's the biggest hurdle that the Lions Club have faced with your event? I clicked the wrong button there. Sorry, guys. I had to look at half of Bert's head there. Kenzie normally is here doing this. She took off tonight because she's sick of me. It's her holiday present to get away from me a little bit. But what's the biggest hurdle, Tim, over the 16 years at the Lions Club that you guys have had to overcome? And then how did you overcome it? Because if you're sitting here talking to us, you obviously overcame it.
Yeah. So the biggest hurdle is that when we started with a hay field. We went out and we bought 90 acres so we wouldn't be landlocked. And when you start with no infrastructure, it takes so much money to buy bleachers, to make permanent structure, to build a track, to make a pits that, in my opinion, are second to none. And then, start with campgrounds and everything. And it just takes so much money for electricity and you name it. When you start with 90 acres of bare dirt and trying to make a facility to what it's become today is definitely our biggest challenge.
It truly is a field of dreams, Tim. You started with a legit field and you've built it. So how many campers are you guys up to now per an event?
We had 102 this year.
Okay. That's growing. It's definitely growing. Tyson, what about you? Coldwater, what's the hardest thing you guys have had to overcome with your pull, and how did you guys overcome it?
Well, the last 2 years has been weather, but that's nothing you can overcome or be in control. But
weather's a mean. Mother Nature is a mean lady.
I think at first, we go back and you didn't see it, but we had basically no bleachers, all hillside seating on old wooden planks. Those were junk. Capacity wasn't nearly what it is now. So we're able to get some money and funds and put in some grandstands. I think then the next thing is we've heard for years was track. And my biggest thing is if we want a better show, which is ultimately what we've been kind of striving to get, is you can't put high dollar iron on a bunch of rocks and tear stuff up. So we actually quit mini rods for a year just because of we had them for like 2 years, 3 years, somewhere in there. They tore a bunch of stuff up, and you see tread flopping when they pull off the track. You got to do something different. So we got the track rebuilt and then brought them back. But boy, there's a long list of things that I feel like, our goal is we want to fill the stands. We aren't filling the stands yet. We've added some and switched some classes up on what we're offering to try to bring in something fresh with good competitor numbers that are good iron that put on a show. And now with the weather, we've really got to up our game on sponsorship. That's one thing that's kind of the front of my page. I've listened to the other podcast this month, and we really got to focus on that, along with kind of making sure we're advertising right to so that people know that we aren't the same old show we've always had, and that we want to be better, and you're going to see a good show when you come here. So,
well, and you said that right, Tyson. You're owning it, but it's hard to, people are used to something for so many years in a row. It's hard. You got to go out and prove it year after year after year that you are changing stuff and you're trying to make it better. So that's kudos to you guys. Marty, what's been the hardest, maybe with the biggest hurdle or the biggest struggle that you've encountered over the years promoting, and how'd you guys overcome it?
Well, like he said a while ago, it was weather. It seems like if you had a drought in Wilson County, the only way to break it was to schedule a track pull, and you were guaranteed rain. But that's in the Lord's hands. That's not our hands. We can't control it. So we just go out and buy Waddy insurance every year.
And hopefully you meet that insurance.
Yeah, we've had to argue with them a couple of times on this, but
not everybody knows about rain insurance. Marty, can you talk about that a little bit and see how? Because I've been caught on the wrong side of that. Marty, I've missed stuff by an hour. I've missed stuff by a tenth of an inch. Can you just kind of give us the 30,000-foot view of rain insurance for a promoter?
Well, the first thing that I would do for any promoter that buys insurance, I would want to know exactly where their rain gauge is that they go by.
Yeah,
because
that is a fine line with some of these companies. I mean,
it's raining like a cow pissing on a flat rock at our track, and where the airport is over there, where they supposed to get their register rain from. Oh, we didn't get nothing over here. The dust is still blowing in the field. Well, it ain't here. It's running out of the ditches. So, that has been probably that has been a thorn in the side. And I advise any promoter to get insurance. I realize it costs us a lot, but
say $800 to $1,000, just depending on how you got it set up, and whether you're doing a 1 day or 2 day.
That sounds too cheap, Bert. That sounds too cheap.
But that's in what did y'all have the last one?
We had $10,000 coverage each night.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that was, and basically they get that, so it covers the basic cost of that event.
Because if you figure your promotions, just promotions alone,
Bert Forbes's bill is $10,000, Marty.
Maybe I need to start charging more.
I'm gonna go out here on a limb and lie a little bit. No, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, please
Bert does a great job.
Yep.
He really does. He's helped us a lot, and he does work for the fairgrounds, promoting the county fair, both pools, and other.
I get phone calls.
Other stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have a.
So
we have a promoters meeting at our banquet every year that we have in Myrtle Beach. Bert usually goes in, sets up a little slide preview, and we go over banners and even the color on the banners, what stands out the most.
Yep.
We've tried to do all that, but I guess another one of our hurdles has been, and I don't know about the other fairgrounds, is you have to be very careful who you rent your facility to, because our track is on the same grounds, but we can actually lock it off and rent the track part separate from the fairgrounds. And we've had monster truck shows to come in, and when they come in, they want to bring their own dirt. And what they bring in come out in a mud hole somewhere about 4 miles down the road. And it's got beer cans in it and rock and iron pipes and PVC and everything else. So,
we pulled brick, rock, concrete.
We pretty much have cut out a lot of that because of renting the track out. They didn't want to fix it back. I've actually had to get a contractor to come in after the pool to fix the track back because they didn't do their job, what they were told to do and what they said they would do. So as a promoter telling another promoter, if you let a monster truck crowd come in and set up on your track, put down plastic tarps or something and separate your dirt from their dirt.
Yeah, ask Hutchinson, Minnesota about that. They got burnt by, I think, motocross at the fair, guys. And their track has not been the same since then because of that. All that extra dirt gets mixed in. So,
yeah.
And demo derbies, pulling tires are expensive, people.
Yes.
Demo derbies are bad. I know they bring people in. And I love it when demo derby thinks truck and tractor pulling's redneck. Shit. That's some good old-fashioned stuff there. That's some good old-fashioned stuff there.
We had one incident where we rented our fairgrounds to a group to put on a rodeo, but it turned into a drunk fest. They put a cow in one pen in the middle of the track, and they just stood around and.
Marty, what did you say? She did what?
It turned into a drunk fest, not a rodeo.
Okay.
They had one steer in a fence in the middle of the track that occasionally somebody would go out there and just mess with the bull, but they drunk probably $100,000 worth of beer, obviously, and it rained, and they stomped the clay got soft on top, and they stomped all the beer cans down in the track.
And they had to clean it all out.
We actually had to tear the track up and go out there with a rake to get the beer cans out of it. And we charged them like 3 times more than what we've charged anybody, and told them not to never come back again.
Yeah.
So be very careful as a promoter who you rent your track to, if you want a $10,000 or $12,000 set of tires out there on it.
Yeah, no, thank you. That sucks. That sucks. All right, Randy, I've talked too much tonight. Your turn. What do you got for Tim?
Hey, so I know this is a pretty big question here, but just give us the highlight reel of how do you get your sponsors? What do you do for your sponsors once you get them? Do you have different categories, of sponsor levelship, or, I know that's a pretty big question. There's a lot of stuff that goes with that, but just give us the highlight reel, everybody, of how you break down your classifications of your sponsorship program.
Yeah, so we make a packet every year, and it's a dollar amount, and here's what you get, all the way from banners on the track to your logos scrolling down on a big screen, to RFD TV sponsorship, or there's just various spots that like on posters, T-shirts, coolers. We got different levels, and that has worked very good for us. It includes tickets to the event, of course. They always like to have tickets to the event that they can give to their customers and things like that. But it's a pretty good sized packet. And then at the end, I I think right now we're at 1.3 million donated back to the community, and which organization we give it to. Sponsors like to see where their money's going to, and I guess they really like that none of us are making money off this event. It's all going back to nonprofit organizations and things like that.
Sorry about that, Tyson. I didn't mean to make you full screen there for a little bit.
Good.
Tim, you said 1.3. That's over the 16 years.
Yep.
That's badass. You are the Mufasa. You are the Mufasa. I love it. Tyson, with your deal, yours is a true fair board, and you always mention your amphitheater. You know, like how do you guys can you solicit sponsors just for the tractor pull, or does it go into the fair kitty and then you have to beat up the lady that wants to give? Fair boards can be fun, Tyson. That's
yes. So there's a lot to learn there, and there's been a lot of discussion. Just me trying to learn there. Currently, it's done through the fair board, but we've started having some internal conversations here, going, look, maybe it's in our best interest, you know. With our committee, we've got 15, 18 guys on our committee. We are fortunate to have lots of help and very good help. You know, maybe it's in our best interest to go out and try to round up some of our own. We have more connections probably than some of the ladies in the office, because ultimately everything comes back to the fair, the bottom line. But us as an amphitheater, you know, the grounds as a whole has all sorts of needs. You got livestock buildings and merchant buildings, and we have a community building on our premise as well that's rented out weekly for event centers and meetings and things like that. But yeah, some of my ideas is, can we do our own fundraising, keep a portion to be determined of our profit per se within the amphitheater for continuation of upgrades. Ultimately, we want the fair to make more money and be sustainable for generations to come, but everybody's kind of tugging for dollars. You know, right now we've got a big push for some livestock buildings that are in dire straits. But, you know, if we can help with that, but also maintain and continue to do some upgrades within the amphitheater would be great. So,
yeah, Tyson, I feel like there's two types of fair boards, because I've been to fair conventions when I was on the Badger State board, and you have groups that come in that they're just looking for, I got to fill Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, right? And then you have fair boards then there's fair boards that have pullers on them or pulling fans on them, and it's a completely different vibe. You know what I mean? But you do have to work together, because I'm all about truck and tractor pulling. You know what I mean? So it's hard for me to say, well, I don't care about this or that, but you have to.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm at. I mean,
truck and tractor pull.
You know, we've got 5 nights that we've got to fill. We have a very successful rodeo and a successful demo derby, and I know that doesn't like to be heard, but the fair as a whole has to make money. And, you know, I would love to have polling 4 or 5 nights a week, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to put people in the stands every single night, or, you know, enough to generate enough funds to pay for the promotional fees either. So, you know, I get both sides of that. But yeah, we've definitely had some people on the board in the last 5 to 7 years, 6, 7 years. It's been polling centered, that understand what we do and the impacts it has on our track. We used to have mud bogs years ago, and that's a no-no. We had a motocross event 4 or 5 years ago that the fair board member at the time quickly realized what it did to our track and said never again. So, you know, I think we've got a friendly fair board that's willing to do it as long as we can make the numbers work. So we're fortunate there.
Well said. Well said. Marty, what about you? Man, I suck with this little thing.
We're pretty much kind of like what he was saying. Our fair board that we have is great. All of them on there have been very supportive of everything. I don't think I've never been to the fair board with anything concerning tractor pulling, and they turned me down. They've said, you know, you're a puller, you know what's going on. They trust me to give them the right information. I try to. And Bert here, he's come in a lot of times and helped on a lot of stuff. We do packages somewhat what he said. Naturally, we have tickets that we give free to the to the sponsors, and we'll put their name on the back. We have a car dealership that is our major sponsor, and he will. Only thing he requests is on the back of the tickets. We'll put something on there like a free oil change or a $20 discount. And what it does is get you back on his lot.
Yep.
Not only is he a sponsor, but he's a car dealer, and he's actually sold vehicles. We have a large grassy area where we come in on the down at the track, and they come up and line their cars up, and they put up a tent, and they set up and give away T-shirts, hats, promotion stuff, and they get something out of it. That gives them the benefit. We put their banners up on the track, but our major sponsor, we take his banner is up, a metal sign is put up on the fairgrounds as a year-round sponsor. But we have other ones also do the same thing. But we've also started taking banners. We'll take the first of the year, probably starting January, we'll send some of our banners off and have the dates changed because we've already got everything set for 2026. When we have a livestock, 4-H livestock show or any big event at the fairgrounds, we put up the banners for the pool so that when the people come in the parking lot for whatever event's going on, whether it's gun and knife show or whatever, they see that. They know that we stuff it down their throat, that every time that there's a big event coming, that's there for them to see, that it reminds them, hey, there's going to be a tractor pull third weekend in May, and we've put the starting times and everything on there.
And last year we went the week before and set up at the Yester.
Bert carried his big sign
and set up out there, and we were up there with Nathan Kiger and and talked to a lot of people.
I mean, you got to push every boundary you can. I mean, you've got to get as much notoriety as you can out there. And Bert's done a great job.
Marty, this is something that I wanted to share. Obviously, I go to Rockwell every year, and this is what they have this on their roller, guys, all weekend long. They got next year's dates on there. How many times does that go back and forth, a night? And this is just, I've seen this at other events too, but I really wanted to share this. This is what you see at Rockwell. These are people, I mean, when your event gets established, like everybody's on here, they want to know what next year's dated before they leave, so they can ask for that time off at work next year, or they can get their hotel or whatever. So that's important to do stuff like. And Marty was touching on that. And I wanted to share that up there as well. So
that's something we try to do every year.
And now you've taken the old Pine Top State, which has always been the third weekend in May, and now that is. Now Wilson's going to always be the third weekend in May, whatever date it is. And it take a couple of years to build that up where people understand it's going to be the third weekend in May. And that may be what we need to change on advertising a little bit as far as advertising it as being the third weekend in May.
And we've announced, me and him was doing co-announcing at the end of the pool, we would tell everybody in the stands, hey, stop by down here at the announcer's table and tell us what you liked and what you'd like to see us change. And I would usually take all the good stuff and all the complaints. I'd tell them talk to Bert.
Absolutely. And Bert deserves that. He's my friend. I know
I deserve that. Okay.
We've been cussed out of time or two about stuff.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
We got stuff thrown at us one year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got the poll planned. We got the poll paid for. Tim, how do we get the fans in the stands? What is the single best activity that you guys have done that has gotten the most amount of fans into your stands?
Good question, Logan. Proud of you, bro.
Well, that's very hard. It takes a lot of time and reputation. Social media. It's big and it's getting bigger. We've tried postcards this year that I think work pretty decent. What we've realized is that radio and TV isn't what it used to be.
For sure.
More streaming and stuff like that going on. So you got to evolve with how things work, and you just gotta keep trying new things, and above all, you just got to get people to talk about your event in any way you can.
But once they get there, it needs to be badass too, guys. Remember that, because they're not going to come back. So remember that. Give them a reason to come back next year. So sorry, Tim.
No problem.
Coldwater, Tyson Franks.
Tyson, what have you figured out that has been one of the single best things to help out with your pole promotion journey?
I'm going to be all ears here. I'm going to be honest. Wise friend once told me A people hang out with A people, B people hang out with C people. Well, I'm going to break the mold and be the B person that hangs out with the A people and tries to be better. So for us, I mean, the first thing that came to mind is we had to switch up our classes. I mean, we were with Wolverine, and Wolverine was struggling. We were struggling with the content on the track. I think that's better, but I am all ears on trying to put more seats in the actual stands, more butts in the stands, I should say. I'm really curious on what people are doing to keep people engaged between hooks. I think that is a big dead time. I know in certain areas there's big
strippers, strippers. Yep.
That's been mentioned to Scale House, but I don't know how well it'll go over.
Yeah, I know. I just have to sometimes, what Tim always say, sometimes you just got to throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. And that one just slid to the bottom.
I mean, announcers can only get you so far. Big screens are great, but at regional national polls, we don't have that luxury. I wish we did. I think we could do more with the big screens. I would love to see the big screen in front of the amphitheater the day of, leading up to the event, showing wilds, rides, and wrecks, and just like the intro clips to this.
Bert has a big screen. Bert has raise your hand. Who owns a big screen in this? Hi,
I
Bert
do.
guys.
Hi,
Sorry, Tyson.
Let's table my question for a minute. Let's talk about that. Is how do we keep these fans entertained in between the hooks?
It just says 12.
Bert, we have to minimize the time, and that's the biggest thing we're going to work on this year is hook time interval, and we've got to get that down. There were some things outside of our control last year with some laser issues, and we got all sorts of reasons or excuses, but we got to get to the bottom of that. But even if it's ideal, you're still looking at 2.5 minutes somewhere in there, hook to hook type thing. I don't know what we do. I mean, you go to a rodeo and it's entertaining. That's 2 nights after whatever, and the average Joe Schmo. And if you've got a new fan there and they get bored between hooks, are they going to come back? I mean, nope. I'm looking for answers. I don't have the answer, but there's little things that you can do. They've talked about T-shirts, stuff like that, but I still feel like there's vast room for. I don't know if you can have a live band. I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's definitely room for improvement because we as a promoter and is responsible for the show, and the show is only happening for the 10 seconds at a time.
Well, we got Tyson. A slug guy here, we got an announcer here, and we got a couple good promoters here. Let's start with the slug guy. How fast can we turn tractors, Randy?
Oh, it can be on a single track show. It should not be, less than 3 minutes. It should happen on a dual track show, 1.5 minutes without any troubles. Right. They just got to be. A lot of times people don't pay attention. In my opinion, it doesn't get. You got to plan out your weight moves, and then maybe you don't have to move so many weights, and you can just shift a gear or something in the sled. That really helps. And what we do here in Ohio is we throw T-shirts out, we throw frisbees out, and we just try to keep do that in between classes too, Tyson. That keeps people entertained for a little bit. That works pretty good. But that's how we do our sled thing, is just try to start big and go little, or start little and go big. So that really helps. Then you can turn them fast. So
announcers, Bert and Marty, how do you keep these fans entertained in between hooks?
Well, I don't do as much of announcing in the last year or so. I kind of went with the school board direction, but when we were announcing together, especially in some of the events like State Fair, you would throw my oatmeal pies into the crowd.
Bert bring food to eat up there, and every time he turned his back, I was tossing food to folks in the stands, and I was telling them, "Be quiet, be quiet." They'd be laughing like crazy. Bert look around, well, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, don't. The biggest thing on the announcer side is like y'all were talking about, that 3 minute or less, and the reason why that is an announcer can only and don't take this the wrong way, can only talk so much or BS so much because they're there to watch a tractor pull.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down to. So the biggest thing, if you can keep it under 3 minutes and that'll keep it rolling. And the other thing is, if we can get the drivers involved a lot more, where when they're not doing anything or say they're getting staged up or maybe they're the next class up, if we can talk to them a little bit more. And that was one thing that I started integrating with the wireless headset and stuff. I could go to the starting line. I could go to the finish line. I could go anywhere I really wanted to go with that setup I had. And so I would start grabbing people. Now, some people would run from me if they saw me coming.
Yeah, when you work with two people, me and Bert's been able to do that. The only thing we have to do is we have to watch the other one. When we're so far apart, you walk on each other talking.
Yeah.
You've got to watch the other guy to make sure you're not walking on him when he talks.
Yeah.
There's only 12
But
people watching.
an announcer's job starts when the tractor at the end of the track spins out.
Yeah.
That's when he should start doing his job. But he can't do it, as you said, for so long. Now, when I was on the board, the tractor pulling board, and I got off of it on my own,
When you take
I had to walk a fine line between a promoter, a puller, and a board member. Well, now I'm a puller and a promoter, and I give them exactly what I want to give them when they slow down.
Yeah.
I don't cut them no slack. I go down there to the starting line myself, and I ask them why. What's going on? Why is that man not in the seat? Why is he setting his cone when he's got a crew member that can set the cone for him? Why is he watching the last puller go down the track and he's not strapped in his vehicle? Pullers a whole lot of times does their own, slows down our shows more than anything.
And one other thing.
But the tech guys are letting it happen. You know, it's always
and I stay on them. Now, we ran 2 tracks. My track, our layout there is not mine. The fairgrounds layout there is big enough to run two tracks. And we have done that. The only problem is, as a promoter and as the fair, when you run the pool so fast, running 2 tracks, you kill all of your vendors.
Yeah.
Your vendors lose money because the pool runs so fast, running 2 tracks. They run this track, they step over here and run this one. You've got a show done, start at 7 o'clock, and you're done by 9 or 9:30. Those people are not going to eat up all the food and stuff that the vendors are prepared for. You got to make the show last long enough that you don't make folks go home. But in the same sense, you got to look after your vendors that come there with food and stuff, to
what their investment is.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I will say on the scoreboard side, what that's added to it on we have it down here at state and regional level, able to do replays, put up scoreboards, put up advertisers. And
I think you can advertise other polls and I mean,
well, and that's what we do is like whatever the next event is, I'll have something set up on that scoreboard that shows the next event for a UPOC event or a Carolina event, wherever I'm at, according to what's on their schedule. And, something I've started integrating a lot, I do it on the banners, I do it on the flyers, and that's the QR codes. Because if they do the QR code where it sends a link to their Facebook page or their website, or maybe even a sponsor's advertiser, like Vester had one. I had one for Vesters, and we did some for Lumberton, and we put some on there for those. They can save that to their phone. They have that link. That grows your social media page, helps your website, and also helps your sponsors as an easy way to link up with that. So I will say that has been last season, as much as I regretted getting out of the announcing side of it, is definitely helped out in a little bit of that dead space, that 3-minute span where you can put in the replay and sponsors, or if you can get an interview going on up on the scoreboard, that definitely helps out a lot in that dead space. Or say you got a sled breakage or something where you've got a tractor that's disabled on the track or something, you can eat up a little bit of that dead time with that. So
I really like somebody had mentioned, I really like the idea of 2 announcers, and I think you have somebody down. I've talked to Jason throughout the year and sent him text, certain polls, the people don't understand the personalities of the drivers enough And when they do start understanding the drivers and who they are and they make connections, whether you like them or not, that's when people start tuning in. I mean, the 50,000 to win poll and having the picture-in-picture and watching drivers' pace and tears and the emotion. I mean, and having people flip you off or tell you they don't want to effing talk about it when they pull off the track and disappointment. That's what we need to sell. And having somebody down there getting to know these people, whether it's driving introductions, that's something I've got in my notes. You know, I mean, we need to start making connections with the people behind the name on the side shields.
Well,
one thing that I've always found entertaining, taking the promoter hat off and the puller hat off, is watching some of the guys over in the Netherlands and overseas. You see those announcers down there on the track jumping around, fist pumping, I mean, talking a mile a minute. But it's just entertaining to watch some of those compared to
Logan, that's cocaine. I just want to. You're young. And I want to share that with you. No, I'm just teasing. But no, they do. They get after it.
I mean, they're into it rather than just two farmers ending up in a crow's nest kind of deal.
If the announcer's excited about it, the fans are going to be excited about it. That it's just period. That's you can. Exactly. And I've been guilty of this. You're tired. You get through the end of the season and you've done like 8 or 10 shows in a row, and you get to that last show or those last couple of shows, and like NC State Fair where me and Schultz were at, that's a tough one to do. That's 3 days by yourself pretty much. And Schultz came in with there and we had a good time, and that makes all the difference in the world on how that fan's going to remember that show. Yep. And so if you can get the personalities in it, and it's just kind of like watching wrestling back in the day. You remember all the personalities, whether you like Jake the Snake or Macho Man, it didn't matter. It was still a personality that you knew, and you knew when this guy was going to come up, you knew how they were going to be.
Tim, what do you guys do there in Rockwell to keep the show moving along and fans entertained?
So on top of the tech officials, we dedicate 2 of our own people to help things get up to the track faster, moving all along all the time. What I'll say is don't skimp on announcers. We have 4 announcers. One is for history, one is a motorhead, one interviews pullers as they come off the track, a winner's circle. And then, there's the one that does the interviews on the end of the track. He goes into the crowd, interviews the crowd. He interviews pullers that are sitting in the crowd. The people want to be educated, and that's one thing that if you got very knowledgeable announcers, they can really educate your fan, and really it grows your fan base because they learn more about tractor pull and they feel more part of the event.
100%. 100%. I like that. Logan, do you have anything off the top of your head? Because I want to ask a question. But if
you go right ahead there, Jason.
Tim, what's the dumbest thing you guys have ever done in Rockwell as promoters? The dumbest. Like, oh my God, what were we thinking? Tyson, this is coming your way, and so it is Marty. So he got rid of Bert finally. He's smart.
Probably the dumbest thing we ever did was when we were the only pull in America that had a pull on COVID year. It ended up being amazing, but boy, was it a risk. But we packed the house, and it really put us on the map, we feel.
Mm-hmm. How many people died, Tim, from COVID that year from your pull?
0.
Oh, what? I think it's pretty safe. It's a pretty conservative crowd here in pulling, so it's all good. So my dad was going to have a pull, and like the local county official said he was going to stand in the middle of the track and he was going to get run over by the sled. And my dad said, "Well, cool," and they still have their pull too. So, but that was. Let's talk about that COVID year a little bit. Marty, what did you guys do during COVID in Wilson?
We all threw money together and we had a purse, but it was just enough to help all the guys.
Yeah, it was basically all the pullers were bored. So they rented a sled, and a bunch of the pullers just showed
Yeah,
up and just paid.
we had
for
it at the
yeah.
fairgrounds in Wilson. We didn't really ask their opinion. We
Yeah.
just we closed the gate and said that we were having a test and tune.
Yeah. So it was like a big get together for all the
Yeah,
tractor pullers.
we closed the gate so the police department couldn't get in there, and we got out there and had a test and tune, so to speak. It wasn't sanctioned by anything. We just we bought insurance. I'll let that be said.
Yep.
And we hired a sled, and we just had a good time.
When you talk to promoters, that's some of the biggest crowds they've ever had. So if you're
For
a promoter,
sure.
don't compare it to your COVID crowd, because hell, pullers were driving halfway across America to go pulling during COVID because they just wanted to get out. Tyson, I'm assuming with you guys being state owned, it was a big thumbs down, right? You had to cancel your
Yeah,
fare?
we held on we're private owned property.
Oh, okay.
We held on for a long time, and then last minute they end up yanking the plug on it. Didn't end up having one.
We had four.
Tim shared
We
his
had 4 or
dumbest
5
idea.
that year.
What'd you say, Randy?
We had 4 or 5 events that year throughout the state, and like I say, it was the biggest events we've ever had.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Marty, what's the dumbest thing you've ever done as a promoter, Marty?
Run a pool without having rain insurance.
Ah,
And it rained its tail off that
It
year.
did that. I was out there that night, 10:30, 11 o'clock. We were scraping the track off, trying to get enough pool in. We had about 100 people in the stands, maybe.
Yeah.
We scratched the track off and tried to finish the pool that night. So, because
It ended up being a really good track after
It was one of the best ones in
You
being
scraped
out there.
about 6-8 inches off the top, and man,
Yeah.
that thing hooked its tail off.
you guys in the Carolinas don't give up. That year in that first year I came to Lumberton, Bert, I swear
Oh
it
my
was 2 in the
God.
morning, and they were digging trenches to get the water off so they could the super
2:30
farms
in the
could
morning.
qualify for
Yeah.
Winter League.
Well, we,
Right?
we
Yeah,
can't forget about what happened in Rockwell last year.
Thursday night.
I mean, holy cow, that there was no chalk lines, but you knew where the out of bounds was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
Break
called
the dirt.
bumpers. They were called bumpers. Yep. They were called
Tyson,
bumpers.
stealing Jason's question, what's the dumbest thing you guys done up there?
Just me witness. It's probably been prior to my time on there, but just the attitude and the mentality of some of the leadership of almost like they didn't care. It was just like, it's just another night, another show. Let's get through it. It is what it is and move on. And I think, I don't know, I was not involved at the time, but I just kind of seen that mentality. It's like, how are you ever going to get anything better if you've got that mentality? And thankfully that's been gone for some years now. But again, you got some hurdles there, but if you're not going to have a passion to do anything, why do it? Just be done.
Thank you for saying that.
Randy, I know you got a story from when you promoted your polls.
Randy,
Let's
what's
hear
the
it.
dumbest thing you've ever done as a promoter, Randy Fishback? This is going to be good.
well,
Let's
you
get
said
to the full-
you said we were only going to go for 45 minutes, and we're over an hour. You don't have time to hear all the dumb shit that Susie and I've done. Jeez Louise.
We always got time for a Randy story, though.
We
Oh,
were
Randy does Randy things. These are the best.
yeah, we do that. I don't know. I mean, we did a few things. We were up there for 28 years as the promoter, and then on the Ohio board, but for like 10 or 11 years now. But I can't isolate one thing that was really a dumb thing that I'm like, oh my, I never want to do that again. But there was a few things that we probably shouldn't have. One thing I will say that was a great hit, and I always tell promoters to do it, is to feed the pullers. Give them a good meal, and they'll always want to keep coming back to you. That was a great thing that we always did. So, but I can't even think. Susie's sitting here with me, the pizza shop chick. She's like shaking her head. She can't even tell you any of the real dumb things that we did.
Randy
know.
never does dumb things.
Yeah, we just do Randy things, So,
That's okay.
yeah. But I
okay.
tell you that I really think that QR code, I think that thing could really be a big hit for our promoters. I think that could tie into a lot of things. I mean, Bert was talking about it last week there. I think that's a great idea. I'm going to push that pretty hard, as hard as I can here in Ohio, to get our guys to do that. I think that's a great idea.
I mean, I can get with you, Randy, or whoever your tech person is, and show them how easy it is to make a QR code. And you can stick it on everything. And you can even make it where the QR code, if you have a post like on Facebook, or if it shows up on TikTok or whatever, where you can hit that QR code and it will send you to that that link. So where it'll highlight that QR code and send it to you, send it there. So like all the flyers down here in the Carolinas, we have a QR code on it. Well, I share it on Facebook. If you go to that link and you can actually push on that QR code and it will send you to the page. So even if it's showing up as an advertisement, it'll still send you directly to their Facebook page.
I love it. This is a question, and Robert Miner, thanks for asking this. For those of us that are involved in pulling every day, and there isn't one person on this podcast right now on the screen that doesn't think about truck and tractor pulling every day or talk to somebody about it every day. But the average fan, 80% of our crowd goes to 1 or 2 pulls a year, right? And we have, So how does a promoter pick their classes? I want to talk about that process a little bit. And Tim, I want you to go first. How does Rockwell, Iowa pick their classes from the NTPA? What do you do, Tim?
Well, when we first started, we're in a farming community, so we wanted smoke. A lot of people like the smoke. When we decided to, really push things, like this year, we're going to be the only pull that has every Grand National class there is. So I guess we're out to have as many classes as possible.
Just throw the book at it. Put all of them in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you play poker and you push all your chips in, that's what
I'm all in.
That's what Tim's doing. He's Mufasa.
Right.
You don't mess with Mufasa. Tyson, how do you guys pick your classes? And this is something you brought up 3 or 4 times tonight, buddy. Because you want that. Well, you talk about it, Tyson. Why and how?
So I always sat down with our fair board prior to me being on the fair board, and they'd always reach out to me and say, "Hey, what should we do?" And we used to be 3 classes years ago when you had 15 in a class. Then we went to 4 classes, and now we're at 5 classes, and it's just about trying to get a link to show. But I go right through the Region 2 results from the year before and kind of go, what classes were the best supported? We know we want some smoke. We know we need some noise for those. I mean, you got to kind of cater to a little bit of everybody. And then you've always got some, like a John Silsby that's a local guy, and he's always works his tail off to get other super farms there. Yes, Michigan's kind of the home of super farms. So, you want to support those that support you. So we've always tried to have some of those in there as well. But it comes down to the classes that, we might take a chance on one or something like that looks like it's up and coming to put on a really good show. We took a leap of faith this year and brought in the light pros, which, man, the closest, I think, other poll they get to us is an hour away in Arcola. But I reached out. I reached out probably 100 different pollers through social media and said, "Hey, we're not what we once were. We got a new track. We'd love to have you if you can stop by," and reached out as many light pros as I could. And, we had a decent, I think we had 9 this year. Which
nice class of them.
I was happy. And, and you get a crowd that hasn't seen that kind of horsepower and smoke. They put on a good show. So,
yeah. Well said. Marty, how do you pick your classes, boss?
Well, UPOC here in North Carolina, it runs 9 classes, is the most that we have as far, in our system to run. And I will run all 9 classes if we get enough vehicles.
Okay.
Our one thing that we done, and the board done this with UPOC a few years ago, off the promoter's request. If only one vehicle shows up and you make a buy run, then we only pay half the purse. And I know that some pullers don't want to do that, but for the promoter's side, it's kind of hard for him to pay $600, $700, $800 for a guy to just make one run 300 feet. Sometimes, you do that 2 nights in a row, you $1,500, $1,600, $1,200, whatever the purse is, that the promoter says, I just paid a guy that amount of money to just make 2 passes. So we gotta, and
that's kind of thinned out a lot. Yeah. Mods, unfortunately, here in this state are pretty much done right now.
Yeah. Cody, I had one and we couldn't even get enough people to.
Yeah. Cody Singletary, y'all seen the news. He's coming out with that mod, but it'll be middle of the year. And I have a feeling he's going to be running some Grand National events with that one.
More than likely.
Yeah. So
Well, is he going to debut it over at Mata?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's going to be overseas for over half the summer. So
Yeah. But yeah, you guys don't pull as much in the summer as we do, Bert. Like I think you guys take off a couple months in a hot summer, don't you?
it gets a little thinner in June and July.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it starts picking back up in August, September, October, and we even last year we had a pull in November over in Hickory, and over on the eastern side of the state we're starting in April 10th this year. So I mean we start in April and it slows down in June, July, but man, August, September, and October there is a pull every weekend going on in this state.
That's awesome.
I go to Bowling Green pretty much every year. I missed this past year, but I leave 95 gnats and humidity around here that'll gouge you behind, and get up there to Bowling Green. It feels like you're in an air conditioner. I mean, that's why nobody don't want to pull down here in June and July.
Fat folks in fire suits don't always get along so good. Not down here.
Somebody, that's gonna be a new T-shirt. Fat folks and fire
suits.
There you go.
That's
What
funny.
was that thing about the gnats and the 95% humidity?
Yeah, it's terrible down here in the middle of the summer. It'll gouge you behind around here.
We need a baby powder sponsor in the summer. So
Cornstarch, man, that's the best thing.
Monkey butt. Y'all remember that monkey butt stuff you used to use? Yeah.
But I'm gonna start wrapping this up because I promise you guys it's still the holidays. It is an hour 21. We're into this. Thanks for tuning in tonight, everybody. If anybody's got any final comments or questions, please throw them on the screen. But this is a good one that I do want people to understand. So James Kerr looks like he's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. He hasn't killed himself yet. Thank you, James. We appreciate you, buddy. Sorry I joined late, but my question is, how do promoters determine the order of the pulling classes? Personally, I want the best classes first, not the last. Tim, I'm going to have you touch on this from Tim, you're going to go first as a promoter. Randy, you're going to touch on this from a track builder, and you talked a little bit about weighting up a sled. But Tim, how do you just say whatever you want in TPA, or do you get involved and do you give any feedback, Tim, as Mufasa of the Rockwell Iowa Lions Club?
So to be honest with you, myself personally, I do not do much with that. The NTPA does talk to the track crew and things, but ultimately they pretty much decide. But I will say a lot of it goes into some classes tear the track up more than others, so we want them a little bit later in the show. And then also getting back to what Marty was saying, the vendors, they want you in the seats. If you had all the best classes or whatever, most popular early, maybe those people would go home after an hour or so. So the vendors would suffer that way. But for the most part, we're done in 3.5 hours. So with 100 and some hooks, that's pretty decent. And everybody, as long as you stay less than 4 hours, we really haven't had many complaints as far as when the classes are pulled.
Now, here's Ryan DeBrew, past Grand National champion with the Super Semi. And semis always get ran last, right, Randy? Why do we do that, Randy? Because we don't want to change the weights in the sled. But I'm telling you, go ahead, Randy. Stick up for yourself a little bit. So.
That's usually why they run them last. But here in Ohio, we actually do. There's a few events that we run them. We do run them first, and we've had to put them in the middle of the show too. We kind of mix those guys up a little bit here. But the biggest reason they run them last is because you got the most weight in the. Usually the semis are the heaviest, and then the mods, and then pro stock tractors, and right on down the line. But they tear the track up pretty good when they got all that weight in the box, you know. So
Randy, which class destroys the track more than anybody else, Randy?
The mod tractors tear them up pretty good. Amazing. The unlimiteds and the regular mods tear them up pretty good. And then
is it the 30.5? Is it the horsepower? What is it?
I think that yes and yes. And then and then the semis they actually do a fair job rolling it back in just because it's 20,000 pounds, you know. But the big tires usually tear it up as much as anything.
So a rule of thumb that we've always been told through our years of the Grand National stuff is you never run a mini rod after a mod, an unlimited super, or a pro stock.
Yeah.
Because even though the top of the track surface looks like it's the same as what it was before. You got ruts dug down that track 6 inches deep, 30 inches wide that you can't see, that might not be compacted as well. And you hit one of those and it will unsettle a tractor.
Logan, why do people like mini rods?
Because they get unsettled.
Okay, bye. Just throwing that out there, Logan, for food for thought. So this isn't the No Practice podcast where all three of those knuckleheads are mini rod guys. We can actually, and you're my only mini rodder, Logan, on here, so we gotta keep that going. So
we run our minis. We run them that's the one class that we run second every event. We run them the second class.
Never run them first, and you never run them after mods.
We always run them second. It works out, pretty good. Try to run we usually try to run a DOT tire first, or the lights or the limiteds. We run those first, and then the minis. Puts on a really nice show for everybody. But the biggest thing is try to make sure you can stack your weights the way it, so you can just consecutively go up or go down. So,
Tyson, do you as a promoter, do you get involved with the pull-in order, Tyson, or do you leave that up to the sanctioning body?
Oh, I mean, only in the sense of just trying to tell the guys, what we got for a track. Like this year it's rain. I mean, we kept telling we don't make sure you don't put minis early on, just because I've got connections with the minis, and it's like you need to develop a track before you put something like that on there. They'll never get a hold of it. So I've seen a few polls like that over the years that I've gone to and paid attention to that, you sit there and go, man, never want to do that again. Or hopefully we never make that mistake. So, but yeah, other than that, it's kind of up to whatever they feel like efficient. And, we try to have the equipment right there, sky tracks, things like that, to move weights as quick as possible. But
sure.
Fair enough. Marty, what about you, bud?
I hate to run high horsepower stuff last. If the track is chewed, up, that's just me, I guess, because I run a high horsepower one. But I've got one thing is, if I'm promoting the pull, I need to be able to handle anything goes on. So I try to get my class out in the way at the beginning, but that's a preference because of what's going on.
Right.
But now I've got access to 80 feet of track width.
Oh, wow.
And I'll build the track about 60. We do it about 60 feet.
Yeah.
And the mini rod guys, they always go to the right-hand side of the track a lot. And all the tractors and everybody else stick to the left-hand side of the track.
And that's the way that track is, the way the dirt is on one side compared to the other. The stuff on the right-hand side favors more towards minis, and the stuff on the left-hand side favors more towards big tires.
Yeah.
So your four-wheel drives and your mini rods seem to stick more to the right-hand side, and all your big tire stuff to the left-hand side for the most part.
I give them a smorgasbord of dirt. They can choose what they want.
Man, there's 3 T-shirts tonight now. Man.
Yeah.
That's smorgasbord of dirt. So, I want to thank you guys for coming on tonight. We'll kind of do some wrap-ups here. Tim, just thoughts, questions, 2026. Where's your head at?
Again, we're just going to keep on getting better. We're having every class that the NTPA offers this year. And I guess thank you to you guys for your insights. We've gotten to the point where we have a promoters fraternity within the NTPA anyway, that we call each other and bounce ideas off one another. And I think this is great for promoters, pullers, fans, everybody involved, just to help one another out and make this sport grow.
Well said. Marty, what about you, buddy? Any final thoughts? What'd you learn tonight besides having to sit next to Bert? I apologize. Checks in the mail.
I like the idea that he's going to run every class the NTPA offers. He is going to be a busy man, and my hat's off to you, buddy. There's no way I'd want to tackle that.
Mm-hmm.
Well said. Well said. Tyson, what'd you learn tonight, buddy?
Oh, I just think it's an absolute privilege to sit down with guys that's got the same passion and with different levels of success, and something I can take back to my own. I mean, we're continuing to work on our own grounds. You've been there. We've got a kind of a small gate that everything kind of comes into our amphitheater and leaves through, and that presented some bottlenecks with having the numbers we had this year and how we staged them, which I think made things better. going to open some things up, move some fences around that ultimately give everybody more work room, more staging room. Want to improve some lighting and some sound system. So, that's kind of the big things that I think we're looking forward to. But I've got a long list of notes here, and I would love the opportunity to share some phone numbers or contacts with some other promoters. Just, Tim said it best. I think there's power in people. I mean, I don't know a whole lot, but I know a lot of people. So, I think there's value in sharing successes, and, there's no sense in reinventing a wheel that's already been invented. Let's just continue to polish it and make it better.
Yeah. And if you're a promoter, you want a Tyson Franks on your team. That guy loves pulling more than life itself. And that's why I wanted to have him on tonight. And there's a Tyson Franks in every community, every fair, but you got to find them and you got to take care of them. So Tyson, meeting you, and I meet a lot of people over the summer, and our friendship, I'm going to call it that. I know I don't talk to you all the time, but it's legit. Like you've inspired me in different things like that. And that's why I wanted to have you on tonight. Now, typical Jason Schultz fashion, I gave you about 6 hours heads up. But I do keep pretty busy, so
that's how we roll.
Yeah, I just want to be clear about that. So I just want to be clear about that. So.
Next year we'll move you closer to the front. Maybe have a little plug-in for your trailer so you can spend the night there.
There you go. I slept in the car anyway because I drank too much whiskey, so it's all good.
Yeah, we gotta have whiskey in the freezer, not just beer.
Right. Yep. You're learning. Everybody thinks I like beer because I'm the beer money pulling team guy. No, I named it that because of a song. I should name it the whiskey money pulling team, but that's all good. It's all good. Question here: is there a new horsepower rule in Pro Stock, Randy?
They took the limit off the Jonathan and Christie. They took the limit off the turbo, but other than that,
okay.
They'll be building more power. That's for sure.
Nope.
So
Wow.
Well, that killed their numbers last year on the Pro Stock side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Huge, that turbo rule that they put on them. So
and then that, obviously that they're our parent company, so then we lose that, we gain that as well. So hopefully that'll help us out as well here in Ohio. So
in January, we're gonna break down the Galaxy program for NTPA pullers. Pretty awesome. I signed up for it last year with my tractor. There's some incentives in there. There's a lot of new stuff going on, and I want to get it all covered. I really want to break it down. I'm going to get some experts on here. There's a lot of questions with this high stakes stuff still. I want to dive into it a little bit more. I like all the chatter about pulling. It's making everybody sharpen their knives a little bit more, and it makes it fun. And Tyson said it best. There's no reason, like Rockwell and Rock Valley, the two biggest pulls in Iowa, and I know Farley's in there, but when you look at heritage and you look at timing and crowd and how many days, a Rockwell is a huge pull for the state of Iowa. And when they're one of the biggest NTPA pulls, Grand National, you heard him say it. When they were the same night as Rock Valley, that sucked. And Tim moved his date. Mufasa said, "Get together, Lions, and we're gonna be smart about this." And that was huge because those are both good pulls. Tim went to Rock Valley and checked it out and went back and forth. So there's enough to go around, guys. You don't have to be you don't have to make it a competition. It's all good.
Hi, buddy.
And Ryan DeGrew has been, I will admit this, he's been one of my biggest. I mooch. When Ryan sees me coming, he knows I'm coming for Crown, and Tim Neuhring knows the same thing. So, and Randy. So Randy brought his own crown to my house. So real quick, Tim, tell us about Christmas. What did Christmas mean to you and your family this year? Did you guys do anything fun?
Christmas is a very important time in the year because it is all about family. And, we've all had our challenges in life, but we can always come back to family and spending it with our family and really our adopted family. And that's kind of what all the pulling people is we're all family and we're in it together. Yep. So enjoy one another.
Well said. Tim, what class did you guys not have in the past? I thought you had all of them before. What do you have?
They brought the 4-1s on as a Grand National now.
But you had them as a region, Hook.
We had them for a regional, yes, but we took all the Grand National classes, and I don't believe anybody else has.
I don't think so either. Marty, what'd you do for Christmas?
Spent it with my new wife. We got married 3 weeks ago.
Congratulations. Ooh, Marty's still in the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stretch out, Marty. You better stretch out. So.
She's probably asleep right now. She was not asleep when I left the house. So,
Bert,
no, spending it with your family and remember the real reason for the season.
I love it. Jesus. Give
Yeah.
me some Jesus. Bert, what about you, buddy?
Me and Charlie had a lot of time. My wife had to work kind of over the holidays, so me and Charlie, my 7-year-old daughter, some of y'all saw her last week. We had a lot of fun cooking and making a mess in the house and that kind of thing. And we wanted to kind of mention Henry McPherson. He was one of our head track officials.
Yeah.
For years
And years. He passed away right before Christmas. So.
I saw that post on YouTube.
Yeah. Henry had been pulling since the early 70s.
Yeah.
He was one of the main people that was involved with the starting here in North Carolina. And Henry had flagged Grand National. He had flagged Grand National pools, and he had been a head tech official and a flagman for 40 or 50 years.
So yeah, and he was a friend to everybody, and I guess the big thing out of that whole thing talking about Henry was when you got friends, spend time with them, talk to them whenever you get a chance, because you don't know if they're going to be there next year or next Christmas. So.
That's true.
Tyson, what about your Christmas, bud?
I'm fortunate that I've still got all 4 of my grandparents that are plus or minus 90 years old, still living at home. So it was nice. It's always nice. You never know year to year. They all live within 6-8 miles of me, but you never know if this is the last Christmas or not. So it's always nice to get together. And the stories get better every year from them, reaching back in the time. It's funny how you go from gifts as a kid to now all you want to do is pick their brain and hear about life 70 years ago.
Yep. The good old days. Logan, what about you, buddy?
Oh, it was a really good Christmas. Spent it with the family. And we were hosting for Christmas, so all the family came in, and it was a great time.
I love it. Randy, what'd you and the pizza shop chick do? And the pizza shop chick is Randy's wife. That's just he does not have he's not Mormon, is what I'm gonna say. So
Well, we had a great weekend the weekend before Christmas. We spent it with some great people up north. Up north, I would say, would be Wisconsin. We had a great weekend up there. We had a great weekend with them. And then when we came home just for Christmas, we're not as privileged as Tyson. They're all of our grandparents, Susie and I, grandparents, and our parents are all gone, but my mom. So it's ours is pretty simple, pretty basic, and the flu was going around. So my mom's been a little under the weather, and she's creeping up on 80 years old. So we all just kind of kept our distance this year at Christmas, but we're all going to get together this weekend and celebrate just a week later. So it'll be fun. So
good deal.
Jason?
Yeah, what did you get into, Schultz?
Well, my house was like, if you saw my Facebook page, it was like the Home Alone scene when they're all leaving for the airport. Because all my nieces and nephews are between like 3rd grade and 8th grade. And my sister-in-law, we played games like, I don't know, we had to pick like.
I saw the cup and the ball thing that y'all did.
Yeah. Yep. We did that. And then we did all kinds of fun stuff. It was a good time.
Good.
It was loud. It was. What about you, Jake?
Yeah,
About a quarter of a deer.
You smoked a quarter of a deer?
Yeah,
Nice.
that was what we did.
That's good stuff.
It was
if
warm.
you want some deer, we got plenty of them laying on the road around here.
I was going to say, hey, sit on my front porch. There'll be 8 or 9 walk out before I leave for work in the morning.
Me and my buddy from Nashville will be right down.
We're right on our way.
If you need some beaver, we got them too, and fire ants.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
Well,
Yeah,
it's been a
Logan,
great year.
you always wrap it up, Logan. So
It's been a great year. This is last podcast of the 2025 year. Done a lot, learned a lot, and we'll be right back at you come 2026. It's going to be bigger and better than ever. From myself, Jason, Randy, Tim, Bert, Marty, Tyson, I think we're going to wrap it up here. So, folks, thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
all
Thank
you
you.
guys hang out. All you guys hang out. Don't leave. We'll be right back.
Today,
Today.
let's talk about today. Compare national and state level, you have to run non-sales, wholesale.
It is 9,000.
The only mistake I made, I didn't put a rate in the registration booth with the just this ever-evolving story.
Come up.